Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I started filming this Get Ready With Me video as part of a vlog, and then I realized that I talked so much that I figured I would just make it its own video. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for being here, and here is a life update. As soon as I sat down here, Ceci decided it's time to eat. Her dish is right here, but I don't know about this sweater. I might end up changing it. I don't know if I'm supposed to wear it like this, or if it's supposed to be like a one shoulder thing, or I just figured I would talk to you while I get ready because I like watching these kinds of videos, and my friend Janet just made one, so I was like, that's fun. Ceci! Just making all the noises. But yeah, Janet actually has thoughtful things to say, so you should go subscribe to her channel. Most days I do not wear makeup, which it's honestly so sad that my skin has not done better. It's definitely not as bad as it has been in the past, but it's like for as much water as I drink and for as much as I take care of my skin, you would think it would be better. When I get my own health care through the military, I will definitely be going to see a dermatologist, but at this point, Abby cannot afford. So tonight is Dave's first concert with the University of Michigan Symphony Band, I think is what it's called. So I'm very excited to get to go listen to that. Band is my favorite. And then afterwards, I don't know if it's just this section from the band or if other studio members are coming as well, but we're gonna go to B-Dubs for some wings. But I think I'm gonna drive Dave and I downtown early, so we'll probably get some food before so that we're both not starving. More importantly him, because you know, he's the one that actually has to do stuff. I really need to like put some effort into figuring out how to better use this camera, because it was definitely an investment that I made in a time where I was not in a place to make investments. But we're good now. Your girl's credit is excellent now, so bless you. Yeah, adult acne is literally the worst because people who have never had acne just assume that it like comes from being unhygienic, which is totally not the case. I know so many people that like don't even wash their face in the morning, or they just like take off their makeup and then they think that's washing their face, and it's really not. It's just taking off one layer and then so yeah, I wash my face and I have a really like good skincare routine, and you would think, well, how's it good if it's not helping? But it does help. It's just like I can't remember the last time that I had a completely clear complexion. I don't know if Dave really watches like the whole way through my videos, but I just have to say how proud I am of him. Like whenever we were moving here, when you're a music student, you have to audition for placement into ensembles, and he was just really nervous because obviously so Dave and I met at the University of Akron, which is a good school of music. It's probably like on par with Ohio State in Ohio. I don't think a lot of people know about the University of Akron. At least I didn't before I found my teacher there, and my teacher is honestly the reason that I went to the University of Akron, and I'm so glad I did because obviously that's where I found Dave. But for us, the band program is just on a different level than that of the University of Michigan, on a lower level. If you're a musician in the collegiate world, you understand that. So for him, like moving to a much bigger pond, he was really nervous, but worked his butt off. And made it into a couple of the top ensembles. And I'm really happy that I've gotten to actually see both him perform in the orchestra, which was on Monday, and now today the band. So very, very cool. So today is the 26th, which means I have 11 days until I leave for basic training, which means I have 10 days left to actually see people, because on the 6th, unfortunately, shippers have to stay in the hotel that the military provides the night before you ship out. So really the 6th is the last day that I get to see my family and Dave. So I'm going home a week from yesterday. So next Thursday I'm going home, and I get to see my Gram and my Aunt Wendy, and then my best friend Heather is gonna come stay with me for the weekend. It's also homecoming weekend for our college IUP, so it's kind of like the perfect little reunion where I get to see lots of people. I get to see my little brother play football one more time, and then the rest of my family hopefully Saturday night. And then Sunday, so Dave is coming on Saturday because he still has class, and then Sunday Dave and I are going to drive to Akron, which is where we met, and hopefully see a few of my friends from school that day. And then we got permission, well, I got permission to check into the hotel late that night, so he doesn't have to take me to the hotel in Cleveland until 8 o'clock. So that'll be nice to have like a full day with him to spend it in the town where we met. I don't love Akron, but I do have a handful of good memories from there. So I hope to vlog on my phone that day, and like on my way to reception and whatnot, and I'll just edit that on my phone and put it up, just to like keep everyone updated. I think my family would like that. So I never want to be the person where I'm like, oh, but I'm like a special case. But honestly, like, my joining the military is kind of a special case. Like, I'm not a kid out of high school, or even someone that has been just working in their hometown, like to get on their feet, and then decides they're going into the military. Like, this is just the next step in my career as a musician. So it's like I have been out on my own for a while. I moved out of my house for college. I moved a little bit later because I was able to commute for my first 2 years and save some money, but I ended up moving out to my junior year of college and living on my own. And then right after my undergrad, I moved to Ohio for graduate school, which was like 3 hours away. So again, on my own completely at that point. So yeah, I've been out and like away from my family for a long time, and I think that's something that is pretty different for people from my area, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. My aunt, my dad, my stepmom, and all of those aunts, like, they all went to the high school that I went to, and they all still live in that area. And like, even some of my friends from high school, like, they're just still around and they see their family all the time. Like, I really only know of a few people from my class that are just kind of out doing their own thing away from our hometown. And so I think that's probably a point of my life that is hard to understand for some people. But I've really just never been afraid of going off and doing things, because I've just realized very early on that if you want something, you just gotta go get it for yourself. And then I realized very quickly entering graduate school that for what I want to do with my life and the talents that God has given me, it's probably going to require me to travel a bit and basically not be in Pennsylvania. With me going off to basic training, I'm not so much sad about being away from people, but I'm a little bit sad that I know that this is like the start of everything that I just mentioned, where I'm going to have to be away for a substantial period of time. But other than that, I don't expect to be that soldier that's like crying in their bunk because they miss their mom and dad. No offense to my family, I love them, but I've been away from them for a long time. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the other thing that is so difficult about being a musician and like never knowing where your life is going next is moving. And for me, it's been made especially difficult because whenever I moved to graduate school, which was fall 2017, my family decided they wanted to downsize, and so they sold the home that I grew up in. They moved into town where I went to college, which is very cool that when I go home now, I'm so close to all of the resources at my undergraduate college, and it's really easy to get together with people because obviously we can just meet in town. But the sad part is, not the sad part, but the hard part is that there's obviously not a lot of room there now, and I don't want to be a jerk, and even though I kind of have, and take up a bunch of room storing my stuff. But it would be a lot easier if I still just had like a childhood bedroom to go back to, which I think a lot of people do have, and that's just not a luxury that I have anymore. So that's been something to deal with. And I think the hard part is that there's not really anyone to ask about these questions. So I definitely want to address them on here because like I just don't have any help. Like, okay, I'm going to basic training. Obviously I know I don't really need to take anything there. But what happens when I go to AIT? Like, I know we can go off base eventually, so I'm probably just gonna take some, like a few pairs of civilian clothes. But then like, how long do I have between graduating AIT and moving to my station? And do I have to use leave for that? Because I won't have enough days unless they let me go in the hole. And these are the questions that I think of as a 24-year-old who just needs to have a plan for everything. If I were just some 17-year-old that didn't have anything holding me down, I'd be like, yeah, let's just go, let's do it. But I do have things holding me down. It's not like I have a house or anything, but the thing is, everything that I own has to be movable or I have to get rid of it. So if I haven't gone over the timeline on here, I leave for basic October 7th. I'm going to Fort Jackson. And if everything goes as planned, I should graduate around the 12th of December. And this is another question I have. So if I graduate the 12th of December and Christmas Exodus doesn't start until the 18th, I believe, but my AIT doesn't start until January 3rd, then those 6 days between graduation and Christmas Exodus, like, are those just like, do I have to use my leave days on those? Because like I can't do anything else in those days. These are just things that I wish were more black and white. Also, yeah, I don't know. So like I said, graduate 12th, and then I'll be home for Christmas, and then I go to AIT, which for me is Army School of Music, in January. Hope everything goes smoothly there. And then I believe that's another 10 or 12 weeks. And then after that, I should go to my first duty station, which would be Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. The farthest away, almost, pretty much, as possible. But I need to drive there because I have my car, which I'm gonna drive till it's dead. And I also have a tuba. I only have one tuba anymore. Don't know, probably haven't said that on here, but yeah, I sold my big tuba because for a while it has not been what I want out of a contrabass tuba. And so yeah, I really needed some money because I've been technically unemployed since I graduated from my graduate assistantship in May, and I'm not gonna get paid till I go to basic. So yeah, I let go of my 188, and immediately after that I went to iTech. So I took note of the horns that I really loved, and what I think right now is that I would love to have a PT6P one day. If you're a tuba player, you know what that means. If you're not, sorry, it's just a tuba that I liked because all instruments are different, just like cars. There's certain things you like, certain things you don't like, but it's an investment, so you better figure out which one works for you. So yeah, I need to drive there because I have to take my car down and I have to take a tuba. And tubas are very expensive to fly with, and you risk them being damaged. So I'm not gonna do that. So I would like to know, like, how long do I have? Will there be expenses paid for? Things like that. I know there's some information online about moving expenses, but most of them pertain to like moving families and stuff like that. Like there's no real information about single soldiers because the Army just hates single soldiers is what I am mostly what I'm seeing, and that they think that we can just pick up and go wherever. And it's like, no, I have a life and I have things that need to be taken care of. Let me just wrap this up. I've just been talking a whole bunch of nonsense, but the Army Field Band just posted a tuba vacancy, and that audition is in April. It's like kind of frustrating because since my Army Regional Band audition, there have been like 3 or 4 openings for tuba players in premier bands, and so it's kind of frustrating because I got like snagged up by the lower down bands, and then all of these other spots started opening up, but that's okay. But anyway, the Army Field Band just posted a vacancy, and they're one of the only bands that still ask for a pre-screen tape. You have to send in a recording of yourself playing the rep that they have picked out, and then they listen to all of those, and then they decide if they want to invite you to the audition. So I need to find out if I will be allowed to audition for that, since I will technically be in AIT at that point. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to, because I'll be right there in Virginia. Basically, as long as they're okay with my AIT training being interrupted for like a day or 2. But I don't know if there are some dumb rules about what I can and cannot do while in training for a regular bandsman position. So in the regional bands, my MOS is a 42 Romeo, which as far as I can tell stands for like regular musician. And when you're in a premier band, your MOS is a 42 Sierra, which they call a special bandsman. So yeah, my dream is to audition into a premier band. That would be amazing, and not only would it like set me up for the rest of my life, but I would be like, that would be the biggest accomplishment of my life. Dave is actually going to be auditioning for I think the Naval Academy Band, or there's 2 of them, the Naval Academy and the United States Navy Band. I don't know which one is opening in November, I think. So he's going to be auditioning for that, and I wish him so much luck, and I'm sure he'll write me about how everything goes. But if we could both end up in premier bands in DC, wow, that would be the dream. Okay, I've talked for way too long. This is what we got. I'm gonna go practice now and then bring Dave home from school. Then we're gonna head downtown because I'm gonna grab some food, like I said, before his concert.